Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of Monday, July 28th, 2025 at 7 o'clock. I would ask that all who have not signed in to please do so. Please turn off all your cell phones and other electronic devices, and please conduct any private conversations this evening in the hallway or outside. This meeting room is equipped with an inductive loop hearing assistance system. You'll be able to hear conversations through the microphones on hearing aids with a T-switch. Also, the emergency exits can be found to your right and left. Please note this meeting is also being live streamed via YouTube with text commenting available. I'd ask everyone to please rise and join us in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Just a couple of birthday announcements tonight. We always announce the birthdays coming up in August, but before I do that, I'd like to thank our Director of Finance celebrating his birthday with us tonight. I'm sure this is right where you wanted to be tonight. But in August, we have 3 birthdays. On the 24th will be Scott Yule's birthday, the 25th is Chad Brown, and the 31st will be Gina Solomon. Also, I'd like to make sure when you come to the microphone tonight to speak, a lot of times they can't hear you online, so make sure your microphone's on, and then just during the public section, give us your name, address, and those things of that nature. First, I'd ask for approval of the minutes for the last meeting for the pay bills only. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I would ask Brittany if you would introduce payment of manifest number 14.
Manifest number 14 for 2025 in the amount of $657,674.16 has been reviewed by the Victortown Board with the following accounts charged: General Townwide, General Outside Village, Parkland Trust Fund, Highway Townwide, Pump Stations Improvements, the lighting districts of Fishers, Brookwood Meadows, High Point, Cobblestone, Quail Ridge, Rolling Meadows, Stoneleigh, and Legacy at Fairways, S&S Consolidated Sewer, and Trust and Agency.
Thank you. As you can see on the screen up above, a few years ago, we started to list expenditures that were in the range or exceeded $5,000 to give the public a little more transparency as what we're spending our money on every month. And you can see Bear Landscaping, the dog park work of $22,400. Bluestone Creek Development, that's our annual rent or our monthly rent for the Parks and Rec building, $11,562.50. CP Ward continual work on our pump stations as far as 5 and 11. This is a partial payment of $281,390. Excellus August Retiree Healthcare, $7,268.36. Harris Beach, the June attorney fees, $6,618.43, of which was a chargeback for the EDPL that we were engaged in. So there was zero cost to the town on that. Integrated Systems for July hosting and renewals of $7,191.22. A lot of road work this time of year. Massett and Excavating highway road work of $219,894.07. Marabito Energy for the fuel for those vehicles of $6,203.31. The controllers, June court fees of $23,177. And RG&E townwide gas and electric, $16,092.30. The total of the above-mentioned expenditures is $601,797.19. If you subtract that out from the previously mentioned expenditures, it equals $55,876.97. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Tonight, privilege of the floor, we have Kevin Esparza here tonight. This wants to make a little presentation and talk to us.
Thanks. I appreciate you guys letting me speak. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and the family here regarding Charlie Forkel. May or may not have heard, but unfortunately, Charlie was killed in a motorcycle accident on he passed away on June 17th. The accident was several days before that. I just want to read a few of my own thoughts, and I'm going to share some thoughts on behalf of the family as well. But I just want to share with you some insight into who Charlie was, and Charlie's a representation of who this family is We're talking about generations here in town of Victor. I also want to help you understand why we're asking you to allow us to name the box rink at Dryer Road Park after Charlie, and how I believe that will really honor his legacy and a memorial to him, not just for the family, but for the community as well. Charlie's left a huge void in our hearts, the family's hearts, and in this community as well. I was at Charlie's memorial service, which actually was at Dryer Road, and I watched the community show up by the dozens to show support to this family and help them understand what Charlie meant to them. Because, like I said, I mean, he really impacted everyone that he came in contact with. But this family didn't just lose a son, a grandson, a brother, a cousin, a nephew, and a friend, but Victor lost an outstanding member of this community. Anyway, while we were there, it was Amber, Charlie's mom, that said to me, she said, I wonder if we can have this box rink named after Charlie. Just as we're standing there watching these people come in, we're watching people embrace and cry and mourn Charlie. She said those words to me, and that's why I'm standing here right now, because I feel strongly that her thoughts and her wishes and the wishes of this family should be honored. And I really strongly believe that should be named after Charlie. Charlie was a true ambassador for soccer. He was a fixture at Dryer Road Park from the time he was a child till his passing. He wasn't just a talented soccer player, which he was. He was a very giving, encouraging teammate who lifted up everyone around him. He was the ultimate sportsman. He touched countless lives on and off the field, inspiring others with his passion for the game and his passion for life. Charlie's love for nature also makes Dryer Road Park a fitting place for his spirit to remain. Naming the rink after Charlie will transform it in more than just a place to play. It'll become a living tribute to his legacy. A simple act will offer a focal point for our collective grief, allowing the families and friends and teammates to share stories, host memorial games, or simply just reflect on Charlie's life in a space that meant so much to him. For our youth, it'll be a reminder of Charlie's kindness and dedication, inspiring them to emulate his sportsmanship and generosity of spirit. The plan would be to raise money for the sign and install it, and although I don't believe this project would carry any significant cost to the town, it holds a profound emotional value to this family, and I believe the community as well. By dedicating this space to Charlie, we create a lasting legacy that keeps his spirit alive. It strengthens our community bond and helps us heal together, because after all, pain shared is pain divided. That's all I have for what I've written. I'd like to share some words from the family. This is from Kelly and Chuck, Kelly's stepmom and Chuck, his father. Dryer Road was important to Charlie, both as a kid riding his bike on the trails and the jumps, and as he grew. He religiously went to adult soccer weekend mornings. He would plan his entire weekend around playing soccer there. He'd go there with friends to practice, to relax, or just to de-stress. Kelly is a member of the Victor Hiking Trails and Victor Parks and Trails, and it holds a really special place for their entire family. It would mean a lot to know that when friends and family went to Dryer Road Park, they'd see the memorial for Charlie and be able to remember him and share memories of him. The family would truly be honored. This is from Anthony DiMaggio. Anthony was one of Charlie's best friends. He was also a teammate. He asked me, he said, please share that Charlie was an amazing person, always there to help you with anything. And he was at that field every weekend playing the sport that he loved. I hope they decide to rename it after our forever best friend. Thank you. And this is from Charlie's mom, Amber. When Charlie was just 4 years old, he took his first steps onto the vibrant green fields at Dryer Road Park to play soccer. I remember that initial practice vividly. Less than an hour in, I was convinced that soccer wouldn't be his passion. Instead of focusing on the ball at his feet, he was enchanted by the sight of the birds gliding through the sky and the distant roar of airplanes overhead. But as it turned out, I was completely mistaken. Charlie would go on to develop a deep love for soccer and even deeper a fondness for Dreier Road Park itself. Over the next 16 years, he would dedicate countless hours on those fields, pouring his heart and soul into the game, his energy evident in every drop of sweat and every bruise he earned. Dreier Road Park holds a special place in our family story. It's not just a field to us, it's a piece of history. Charlie's father grew up just a stone's throw away in a charming house that we still affectionately refer to as Angel Grandma's house, a name that evokes warm memories and a sense of her legacy. During my own battle with cancer, I often found solace in long, contemplative walks where Dreier Road Park became my refuge. It was there I would see Charlie alone on the turf, practicing his shots on goal, his determination palpable. He would often pause to ensure I had cold water waiting for me as I returned from my walk, a small gesture that spoke volumes about his caring nature. Though Charlie cherished his sleep more than anything, his passion for soccer was unyielding. Every weekend he would set his alarm to an unreasonably early hour, only to join the adults playing on the turf, long before he officially entered adulthood. His drive and enthusiasm were remarkable, as he eagerly seized every opportunity to play, even if it meant sacrificing a few hours of sleep. Honoring his name and legacy by naming the box rink after Charlie would ensure that he's remembered. Young soccer players will be curious about who he was and why he deserved the recognition. This dedication will allow his memory to live on for generations to come. I respectfully urge the board to approve this naming request. Let's make Dreier Road Park a place where Charlie's love for soccer, nature, and community continues to shine. Thank you. I just want to add one more thing, just because it just came up in conversation before we started here, but you know, I knew Charlie since he was, God, I don't know how old. I mean, Noah's in 3rd grade or 5th grade maybe. So I can speak personally on just what a great kid he was. And you know, everyone thinks their kid's the greatest, but you know, to say that about someone else's kid, I think they have to be exceptional, and he was an exceptional person. But what I just found out is that through this tragedy, Charlie's death saved lives. Charlie was able to donate his organs. His liver went to an 11-month-old little girl. His heart went to a 19-year-old. His pancreas went to an adult woman, and each of his kidneys, one went to a teenager and one went to another adult. And there was no question about it that that's what Charlie would have wanted, because that's who he was. And so this is, you know, this is a big deal for us. I think it's a big deal for people in this community that knew him, or even if they knew just know the family. Not even if they didn't know Charlie. I think just through knowing the family, because you know, we are who our parents were, and it's who we become, and this family is a representation of who Charlie was. So honoring him honors them, and I think it really, really speaks volumes for the community. So that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
No, I don't think we have any questions. I just want to say on behalf of the board, our heartfelt sympathies go out to the family. The morning that I saw that name in the obituary, I immediately went back to teaching Chuck and Aunt Missy back
yes.
in the late 80s. I won't put any dates out there, but I didn't know Charlie, but just seeing that name in the obituary, I know that he came from good stock.
Yes.
And so our hearts are there for you, and we won't take any action on it tonight. We'll wait till we have an entire board,
Okay.
and we'll talk about it. We'll talk with Brian about it as
Yes.
well.
I spoke
And,
with Brian. Actually, Brian's the one who recommended me
Right.
take this route
Right,
first.
no, this is perfectly appropriate. That's the way to do it.
Okay, so if there's no questions for me, I have a question or two. I just want to make sure what the proper next steps are for me to make sure that we continue the process. What can I expect next?
Supervisor Marin is necessarily absent tonight. He's recovering from back surgery, so
Okay.
that's why I'm running the board meeting tonight. You know, he'll want to be, obviously, he's probably watching via YouTube tonight.
Okay.
So we'll want to get his thoughts. We'll
Okay.
discuss it with Brian, and then we'll look at what our policies are and what we've done in the past, and we'll move forward from that. So I think we've got your contact information, and you'll probably be our contact person, you know, through
Yes.
Brian, and we'll work through you, and we'll see see where we go.
Okay.
Kevin,
All right.
do you guys have any ideas on a mock-up of what that sign would look like? Or have you done any work on that yet so that we might be able to understand a little bit about what it would look like? Or
So just very early on, because obviously we wanted to make sure we had approval first, but, and, you know, we haven't discussed it collectively, but my thought is, I went out there and took some pictures just to get a sense of what might make the most sense. And as you go into the park, and the box rink is there on the right, the entry is there. And my thought is, just to the left of that, there's a pretty open green space where you could have a 4x4, a 4x8 sign installed that wouldn't be in the way of anything, but it would be right there at the entrance to the box rink. And as you come into the park, whether you're going to the pavilion there or to the trails, you could still see it there on the right-hand side. So that was my thought. You know, I think it makes the most sense for a landscape orientation type sign. So, you know, maybe something 4x8, not real big, but something 4x8 maybe is what it seemed to be. And it also depends, you know, if you guys do approve it and it's something we can pursue, then obviously want to make sure with the family what they want it to say, what's okay for it to say, what can be on it, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So we
absolutely.
obviously would want to work very closely to make sure that,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, that's my thought on it. I just want to say one thing. You know, I lived in Victor for 17 years, so I've been to every one of these parks here. And so I don't know what the policies are. However, I do know that there probably isn't necessarily any precedence for this. I don't see anything else in any of the other parks named after anyone. I see plaques, see memorials, benches, you know, metal plates. So I know that there's not necessarily a policy. Maybe I mean, I don't know whether or not obviously there's a policy to prevent it or allow it. But what I would ask you guys to discuss is that, you know, there is no precedence for this, but there is no precedence for losing a 20-year-old kid in our community either. And so I would hope that if there's no policy and knowing there's no precedence, that it's still something that would be heavily considered and hopefully in the end authorized so that we can make that happen. So,
Very good.
all right.
I just wanted to say thank you for coming tonight and being a spokesperson here for the family. And to the family, thank you so much for coming tonight. I can't imagine what it's like to lose a child. I'm a mama too myself. You know, I've had family lose children, and I've seen how that affects them. I can't imagine what it's like for all of you, and you're so brave to be here tonight. So thank you so much for coming.
One more thing, sorry, and then I'll stop, because you just reminded me.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I'm here, and I'm sure each one of you feel the same way, whether you have kids or not. If you do, then you certainly understand. But even if it's indirect, if it's a family you don't know and you hear that, when you just hear it, your heart hurts. And when it's in your community, and when they're your dear friends, all you want to do is help. And be honest, nothing's going to take the pain away. But all you want to do is help. And I hope, again, as you guys are discussing it with Supervisor Marin and all the details that are important for you to consider as a board, just remember, you know, I know you want to help too. And this is what you can do to help. So hopefully we're going to keep our fingers crossed. But yes, please keep in touch. And whatever you need from me, I'll be here. Okay?
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll open up our meeting to any public comments. I would just ask you to come and introduce yourself and name and address, and keep your comments to, 3-4 minutes if you would, please. We'd appreciate it.
Wow, how do I follow that? Hey, Kevin, reach out to me. I don't know what's going to happen, but I definitely want to help. All right. So, Randy Shea, 50 West Main Street, Victor, New York. I wanted to come before the town board tonight because, actually going way back, I've always appreciated volunteerism in Victor, New York. It's part of what keeps our taxes down. The more volunteers we have, the more things we got going on. Sports boosters, volunteer fire department, just all the different types of volunteer organizations, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, etc. And recently, somebody who actually used to run the food cupboard said, why is it that there isn't as much volunteerism anymore? So I was thinking about that, and recently I did a video. I happened to be at a ceremony that dedicated the Star Magnolias, and you got me verklempt, man. Anyway, Star Magnolias in Mead Square Park. I was there for the tree board ceremony the village does. And it was a rainy, cold day, and the only one there was Bob Haggett. And this was early on when the tree board just got started. And there was a dedication for the tree board of them. And I just live across the street, so I walked over, and so I was there for the dedication ceremony. It was really small. But I caught them blossoming at the same time Bob was in the hospital. They were thinking that he might not make it through. And I don't know how much you guys know about him, but he has been involved in just about everything. And he doesn't ever look for accolades, but he does a whole lot for the American Legion, the tree board, etc. Another person that we should recognize. Now, in the video, I mentioned that the best time to recognize people that have done a lot for our community is before they're gone. And so, of course, after they're gone too, but if we could do a better job of celebrating volunteerism, I was already thinking about it. Also, I don't know if you know Sue Stelling, most of you do probably, but from 1977 to 2004, she ran the Hang Around Victor Day event. And that was the premier event in Victor, New York. More than 1 year, they had over 10,000 visitors to Victor, and it was all volunteer Army that made that happen. There were no paid event planners. But the reason that this all came about is, along with the fact that I have a compassion or a passion for celebrating volunteerism, I was doing business, Destination Victor, New York. I was signing up Pinnacle Athletic Campus to do some advertising for them on our website. And after I was done, they started talking about, we need to do some things that'll bring the community in. Why don't we do something like Hang Around Victor Day? Well, I was a co-coordinator in 2004 with Sue, and we had over 10,000 people. And I mentioned it. One thing led to another. I called up Sue. We had a meeting, and so we decided to call the celebration Hang Around Victor Day Celebration 2025. That's not to be confused, which it is being confused, with Hang Around Victor Day. But it is actually a kickoff to a brand new event celebrating volunteerism. And will the name change? Will we keep calling it Hang Around Victor Day? I don't know, but it seemed very appropriate because Sue Stelling will be honored as the legacy guest of honor of the event. And if you bring up Hang Around Victor Day, most people even just think of Sue Stelling and all that she did. So we decided to go with that. It's very important because some people have been concerned that maybe it'll draw away from the other events. Anybody who knows me or has watched my videos or has paid attention to me, when it comes to community events, I'm all about amplifying the message. Get out, shop local, go to Climb Aboard Victor Day. I interviewed Drew 1 year. That turned out pretty good, I think. But so I'm still all about that. So it's not about taking away, it's actually adding to the events that we have that draw people to Victor. Destination Victor, New York is really trying to amplify the message that Victor, New York already is a great destination to visit, to live, to work, to shop, to invest. And that's what's drawing people to sign up. They like the message of what the business is about. But this event may not draw a lot of people because I only got started a few weeks ago. But if it's just big enough to celebrate Sue Stelling, and we have maybe 30 vendors instead of the 90 that we have space for, and already got Victor Hiking Trails is coming, Friends of the Railroad, Victor Farmington Rotary. So if it's not a huge event, that's not the point of it. It's to celebrate volunteerism. And I wanted everybody in the community, and I know especially you guys, to know that it's not competition. It's an addition, and it's something that may continue on. And I think it's a good thing. So I just wanted to, I'll leave it at that. Thank you for giving me more than 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Hard to stay below 3 minutes for me.
I know. You're welcome, Randy. It's 4.5. Anyone else have anything they'd like to talk about tonight? Come to the podium, please.
You might guess why I'm here. Dolores Fanton, 8082 Taylor Road, Victor. Thank you for allowing me to address you. I am requesting your help in saving the Fishers Fire Department. Today, we became aware that the Fishers Main Street Station is now unstaffed, apparently permanently. As you know, the Fishers Fire Department Board of Commissioners wants to dissolve the Fishers Fire Department because of the potential for future issues. They do admit that the Fishers Fire Department presently has no debt and is in a strong financial position. It makes no sense to dissolve this department because of a potential problem. Fishers Fire Department, as you know, has been in existence for more than 100 years. This dissolution would harm the residents of the Fishers Fire District. Victor and the further distance Fishers Fire location, the one that's open now, cannot physically reach us in the time that Main Street Fishers can. Outcomes will obviously be much worse. Unfortunately, it would be reasonable to expect that lives will be lost and buildings destroyed because of this disastrous decision. If the Fishers Fire Commissioners succeed in destroying the Fishers Fire Department, we will never get it back. Unfortunately, it looks like they will be successful by means unknown to the residents since there is no communication. We have found out everything on the news or on Facebook. We wrote to them on July 19th without hearing back. However, after the letter was emailed on July 20th, I found on Facebook a letter on the Victortown page from Fishers dated July 18th that Fishers Board of Commissioners would accept comments until 5 p.m. July 19th. They probably deleted it. Our catchment area is rapidly expanding. If anything, we will need more fire protection, certainly not less. The Fishers Fire District Board of Commissioners is not allowing the residents and to be involved in their decisions. We learned of the original dissolution on the evening news. We were not allowed to attend the July 16th meeting in its entirety. Parking was close to impossible, and many had to leave without attendance. They refused to answer questions, and apparently the letter sent on July 20th was discarded. Since the Fishers Fire Department Board of Commissioners is hostile to the residents and apparently the professional firefighters and to the volunteers, we want them to resign. The original letter asked them to do an about face, but that doesn't seem possible now. Their egregious behavior now forces us to ask for their resignation. Their incredible continuing hostility is evidence that they cannot be trusted. And additionally, they are doing harm to the residents by increasing the response time. Can Victor take over the Fishers Fire Commissioners so that we retain our 2-station fire department? And I'm asking you, please save the Fishers Fire District. We can't do it. They aren't responsive to us. So anything you can do to help us would be greatly appreciated. Right now, we know that the response time, because it's our station that is not staffed. Thank you for listening to me. May I give a copy of what I just wrote
Absolutely.
to them?
Absolutely.
And I'm also sent a copy of the letter that I wrote to Fishers.
Got it, and I think everyone has gotten a copy of it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for letting me address you. If you have any comments for me, what we can do, I'd appreciate them.
I think you're doing it. You know, I mean, public participation, I mean, you hope that it's not too little too late, but certainly the public participation and by all accounts, the attendance at the meeting on July 16th, a lot of outspoken people were at the fire hall, and you know, we, as a town board, are still waiting for the commissioners to decide what they're going to do.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Deputy Supervisor, just because I was present at the panel for that comment, and I removed myself last time, I just wanted to, again, emphasize my conflict and that I've recused myself.
Yep. Understood. Anyone else care to address the board tonight? All right, let's move on to the reports of town officials. In your packet, you had a report from Finance, IT, Highway Report, and Planning and Building. Things seem to be moving along pretty nicely with everybody as far as what their plans were going into the summer and what they're getting done. And we really appreciate those updates on a regular basis. And I didn't know if anybody from the town board had any comments or anything that they'd like to comment on, things that they've been working on, or any comments on the reports that we got tonight.
I just have a quick question for Keith, not really from what's in your report, but I just noticed it on Plaster Mill today while I was driving to work. There's like some graffiti on, I think it's right before the town line to Farmington. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I saw it.
You see
The
this?
plastic fence.
The first thing I thought of is that's an HOA issue.
Is it, or is that a code? Like, is there something in
There's
codes?
some
Maybe we
graffiti
could
on
look
the
into that.
white signs going out Plaster Mill towards the throughway,
Okay.
towards 330.
Actually,
I
on
can
the
have-
fence.
It's on the fence.
On the
the
white
fence.
fence.
I can have one of the code guys look at it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Only other thing I have is that the Dryer Road playground replacement, I guess, committee, task force, whatever we named it, met earlier, a smaller portion met earlier today. We received 8 bids from the bid that we had put out. That closed, I believe, on Friday. Narrowed it down to about 5 today. We are trying to narrow it down to 3 to interview. And we're still looking at, to have it within the budget for this next year. I know Rich will need that too. And because we're using the ARPA money, it needs to be done by the end of 2026. If anybody wants to take a look at the bids, you know, Brian has them. I have a couple with me. A lot of them were paper copies. Not everyone sent an electronic copy. But I'm happy to keep everybody abreast, or if anybody has any questions. We're still probably looking at $1 million for the playground replacement, and looking at some different elements and vendors right now. If anybody has any questions?
Anyone else?
Mark, I saw your correspondence from the engineering study that we had looked at as far as Shire Lane safety goes, and I think I put a lot of effort into assessing that, but I think that the assessment that they did, obviously from a professional standards perspective, makes very good sense, and I think that, I mean, from my perspective, we looked at considerations, and I think that the matter's closed at this point. Is that a good assessment?
Yes, I would agree.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to our resolutions. We'll start with resolution number 1. This is an authorization to seek bids for an air duct cleaning service for all of our buildings and town hall and highway facilities. Fran,
moved.
Mark,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution number 2, we have several from 2 to 7. We got an agreement for Mark Rust for the Kids and the Family Concert.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. An agreement, resolution number 3, an agreement for Melissa Benulis for the Spanish instruction for our youth.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. An agreement with Pradip Ananda of Random Accents for the concert series.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 5, an agreement with Rich Stein, the Magic Show at the summer camp.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Resolution number 6. This is an agreement with Rich on the magic and the balloon twisting camp. I was thinking about signing up for that myself.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Only if you're going.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I got a lot of grandkids. We can twist a lot of balloons, so. Resolution number 7. This is a request for certificate of liability insurance waiver.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Our long-awaited sewer agreement with the village has finally been approved by all parties involved, and attorneys, and supervisor, and mayor, and this is a resolution for our supervisor to sign and execute this agreement, which has been looked over pretty thoroughly, I would say.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 9, this is a hold harmless for Kyle Barber on 1240 for Heather Lane. Our folks have looked at this, they don't have any issues with it. Stormwater and Highway have reviewed it, have no issues with it, so I'm looking for a motion on that as well.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution number 10. These last few come from the town clerk's office. This is an update, the town hall meeting room usage policy. Just a couple of tweaks in there to make sure people know that there is a procedure and to follow the procedure and to get notice and go through those.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The last 3 are from Monroe County Water Authority, and they're basically frontage easements so that they can do what they do and what they need to do when they are working on water lines for us in the county. Number 11 is for the frontage on County Road number 9.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 12 is for an easement on Benson Road.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And number 13 is for an easement on Rawson Road, 7200.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. We have a section at the end for public comment and concerns. If anybody would like to come forward, have any comments? Not tonight, Dave? All right, are there any comments online? Nothing online? All right, tonight we have a few actions under Rule number 2 and Rule number 1 that we will go into executive session for. I will not need anyone there except our board. I will not need attorney, and I will not need town clerk, and I will not need finance.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 7.